Hi, everybody. It's Grace Bell. I am the author of Grace Notes and the new and noteworthy Peace Talk podcast on iTunes. Check it out. And of course, Eating Peace, the online and in person retreat programs. And I've tried a couple of times to get this video rolling today, and I thought, I am just going to make this do it yourself, no editing, just going right through it no matter what happens. And now I hear the garbage truck beeping outside. But I love it. Here we are in Grace's kitchen, and this is right in the same place where I have done some retreats and where I work with a lot of people individually. Yeah, see, there's the garbage truck. I can see it. And we're talking about taking out the garbage so that you can have eating peace and not garbage eating, right? That fits perfectly. I used to feel like I treated myself like a garbage can, like a garbage disposal. I would eat and eat and eat, and if there was leftovers around and leftovers on plates, why not eat them instead of throwing down the garbage disposal? So treating myself like a garbage can. And I'll tell you what, it's not very peaceful. It's not a sweet way to live. So I wanted to give a little broader overview today of some foundational principles around eating peace that I found over time that are going to be included in an upcoming book that I'm working on, and also that I teach in my online program. But really, I'm going to give them to you today, so no matter what you're doing, even if you never take the program, so that you can write them down and just reflect on them and add them to your life in whatever manner that works best. I really have found them to be such bedrock foundational principles for creating eating peace in your life on an ongoing basis that I wanted to share them with all of you. And from time to time, these foundational principles are exactly what I talk about in other shorter videos anyway. I'm bringing little tidbits and pieces of what I learn under these 7 umbrellas over time and just give them to you in these eating peace videos. So here's what they are. Got them written down in the right order so I can remember to tell you. All right. The very first one, as I shuffle through my notes, I do remember what the first one is. It's writing. And as you all know, you probably get tired of me talking about getting that journal. And I love some of the notes that people will tell me is, I didn't get a journal. I finally got a journal, Grace. I finally got a journal. So that was me too. It took me a long time to get a journal. What this journal is for is it's for writing down your innermost thoughts and feelings about life. It doesn't have to be about food. But you notice that stress rises either before you want to reach for food and you have a compulsive craving to eat, especially when you're not hungry, or after you've already eaten and you feel bad and guilty about what just happened. Start to write. If you can imagine, it might be inconceivable to you right now, but if you can imagine actually writing during your time of eating, just pausing for a moment and writing down in a journal what's going on, it can be incredible insight for your own awareness around what's driving a sense of overeating or a movement towards food when it's not really required for your body. Now that's the greatest sense of like being in eating battles, when you're doing something with food other than just simply fueling your body and enjoying the pleasure of eating for fueling your body. I mean, eating is very, very pleasurable. That's the thing. As somebody said recently in the in-person Eating Peace retreat, it's just so darn effective, eating. I wish it wasn't so effective. And maybe you can have a little compassion for yourself. You've probably found the same thing, that the actual act of eating is so incredibly temporarily effective because we're ingrained to have it be something full of pleasure. So the thing is, it's sort of ghost pleasure when you don't stop, when you're not really hungry, when you're eating something you don't really like, then not so much fun. It's kind of fake. All right, so I'm going to share with you these 7 principles. Of course, I just remembered the writing easily. Number 2, oh, I got that one in my head too. I don't have to find my notes. Silence. Oh, my favorite. Silence is fantastic. So, whether you have ever meditated or not, or been in silence, or been in a group, no matter what kind of religion you've had in your history, or even non-religion at all, you can experience silence. You can start with 5 minutes. And I highly recommend 5 minutes a day. I used to meditate 1 hour a day, and then that got a little rigid, because my nature is as somebody who has had an eating disorder is extreme discipline, and then moving over into the absence and the out of control and out of control and swinging back and forth. And so I now have a more organic feel for my relationship with silence, and I do it quite a lot. I absolutely love it. And it's brought into my life alone in my day, but also on meditation retreats with other people. And the power of that is incredible. So begin to add silence into your life, some amount of meditation. You can make it 15 minutes if you like, and maybe you can have a set time every day just to help you first thing in the morning or sometime in the early evening. I don't recommend doing it right before you go to bed because often you'll just fall asleep. This is sort of to begin to really have a relationship and experience of silence while you're awake. Okay, the third foundational principle is, it's like this bedrock of willingness to be open, to shift your stories about food and eating. So identifying your stories about food and eating, and what I mean by stories is the concepts that you say out loud. They can be the most simple things like, I shouldn't eat some sort of food, or eating after 7:30 p.m. is bad, or I must eat breakfast every day. I don't know, all the rules you've ever learned for your entire life that you heard from your grandmother and read from diet books. Just have an openness to be willing that this isn't 100% hands down rule of all time that is constantly true. That this whole world of food and eating and how it fits into your life is something that can change and morph over time, become more comfortable. Sometimes people do things like they might be gluten-free, but maybe it has a disordered aspect to it. And so they find that maybe eating bread is something that is very pleasurable, very joyful for them, and their body is not, in fact, having trouble with gluten, but maybe their mind was. That's just a little tiny. Also, if you do have stomach problems with gluten, then of course you're going to be gluten-free. But it's just noticing, different trends and phases come through our culture, and be willing and open to question absolutely any of them, and just let them be useful for as long as they're useful, but you don't have to be rigid about it. Okay, the fourth foundational rock is willingness to be open to stories about food and eating and about yourself. But the fourth foundational rock for healing your relationship with eating is to then inquire. My favorite form of inquiry is the work of Byron Katie. And of course, I'm a certified facilitator in that way of working with people. And I've done the work myself for a very long time, 10 years now. So the 4 questions that are these simple questions that are offered in the work are so powerful and something you can come back to as a base platform for inquiry. There are other forms of inquiry that are incredible. I love Scott Killaby's way of inquiry on compulsive behavior and looking at addiction. He's offering beautiful insight into the world of addiction and ending and living in peace, ending your addictive processes of any kind. And this wonderful inquirer, Bruce DeMarsico, I also appreciate so much. Had some of the same, close to the same types of questions. Really great wisdom and thought leaders have offered profound questions in inquiry that can help all of us and can help you understand your relationship to food and eating. So to tap into those and then answer the questions, that's your work. Foundation number 5 comes from the Serenity Prayer, which is commonly heard in 12-step communities and traditions. So this element of healing is something you probably already have access to, but this is being able to see where you have options, where you have the possibility of creating change in your life, and what you can accept that is unchangeable and unwavering. The Serenity Prayer is, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You do not have to use the word God. You do not have to be religious. You can just say, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So simply an awareness of those two things moving through you at the same time, what can or can't be changed, and an acceptance of both these parallel experiences going on. Like, for example, when it comes to food and eating, as it turns out, it appears, we have bodies and we need to eat. Who knows why it's set up like that, but that's something that you cannot change. A lot of people over time have said, if I could just take a pill and know that I had my, food or my resources handled for the day, that would be best, because then I could just chop all this thinking and emotional problem right out of my life, and I just take a pill and that would be all I needed every day. That is not what you're invited to do. You cannot change that you need to eat and you have a body. So your invitation, what you can change, here's your wisdom in knowing the difference, is to not wish for a pill, but instead wish for peace around eating and food, and that you can move back into that, and you have the capability, because everyone does. All right. The sixth foundational bedrock to build a beautiful eating peace castle on is gathering your medicine bundle. This is my favorite. I find it very creative. It's an imaginary medicine bundle. Many native peoples would have a medicine bundle that they carried with them, or shamans, or people who are medicine healers, and you are the healer to yourself in your own life. So begin to have a medicine bundle. You can make something real if you like, if you're a creative person and you like that kind of thing, but really it's an imaginary medicine bundle in your own mind. And part of what I do with Eating Peace videos is offer little pieces of medicine that I actually have had in my medicine bundle, and I share them with you, one at a time. So some of the things I've shared in the past already are parts of the medicine kit, this first aid kit for working with eating and your relationship to food. All right. The last foundational rock for eating peace in your life is using your imagination. I saved the best for last. So I love this question. What if my experience with eating was peaceful, was friendly? What would that look like? What if I was kind, loving, and gentle with myself and food and with my body? I mean, your imagination is so amazing. It's been incredible, and it's been incredible with the self-criticism and the war and the battle that's developed on the inside of you around food and eating. So let's just swing to the other side of duality, and instead of imagining so many rough things, imagine loving the way you eat instead. So enjoying yourself, enjoying food, stopping when it's just enough. What would that look like? Can you imagine yourself doing that? Can you imagine yourself being that kind of a person? It's very, very fun. Sounds kind of like woo-woo and strange, but the mind is incredibly full of imagination. And the thing that creates eating war in your life is also imagination. So give some weight to the peaceful side of imagination, and I think you'll find very rich resources that you had no idea were there. Okay, so the most important message I want to leave with you today is that you have within you all you need to heal from eating battles and angst. You have the capacity to be quiet, to write, contemplate, to gather support and love, and be best friends with you when it comes to food and eating. So eating can be a friendly experience, not a warlike experience. And I'm just going to recap real quick what these 7 foundational principles are, okay? So here they are. This time I do have a note right in front of me. Writing in a journal. Silence. Identifying your stories or beliefs about eating and about life. Just what's going on when you start to eat. Identifying what those stories are. Doing the work. That is, inquiring. Number 5, knowing truly what is possible to change and what is not necessary or impossible to change in order to be happy. Number 6, gathering your own medicine for this journey, your unique healing path. And number 7, using your imagination. So I'd love to hear from you now. What specific foundation needs the most development in your life when it comes to food and eating? Like, how do you think these foundational elements will help you with your life with food? Your life with food really is a spiritual path. Your life with food is about your sense of what the universe is. Your relationship to the world and to your life shows up in your food and eating. So what is that? When it goes off, what's going on? So I'll continue more in the next video next time with expanding more on some of what I've mentioned here. And I'd love to hear your questions, because that always helps me too. And it helps me, it gives me direction on what to include next time. But what I'll probably share next time is a little more about how to write in your journal so you can better understand yourself and handle those big feelings, and then the urges to eat or crave or binge, and also get support that you want and need to help you heal yourself. So, all right? And there's just so much more. All right. Take very good care of yourselves. You can get started today. And like I said, I do have a little more space in Eating Peace. I send out a presentation each week. It's pre-recorded, and you get to just watch it all by yourself. And every Wednesday we all get together live for Q&A and for self-inquiry. It's a tricky thing to do on your own, so I help guide everybody through that inquiry part. And we all get moving with some of these other things and explore the world of eating peace. So if you have more questions on that, just shoot me an email, grace@workwithgrace.com, or you can write a question or comment below when you watch this video. All right. Thank you so much for being with me today. Thank you for taking the time out to heal your relationship with food and eating. Lots of peace to you. Bye-bye.